It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. And we're going to zoom in and focus in on what I'm going to call passive rage. When we talk about a covert narcissist or a psychopath, an individual who has a pathological sense of self-importance and is devoid of empathy. And also one of the key qualities that I want to bring into the discussion today is that of kind of being a braggart. You hear about someone who is bragging all the time, bragging about their conquests, bragging about their money, their travels, their meals, their business, their financials. They walk with an arrogance. They are snubbing off of other people. And this braggart kind of quality is not just like, oh, I'm so excited to go on this trip. This is going to be so amazing. Check this out. Like, let me bring this in and discuss this with you. I mean, that's someone with heart, with empathy, who just wants to share. The fact that they're excited about a new job doesn't mean that they're bragging. The fact that they're excited about getting married or buying a new house or getting a new car. These are exciting times. Getting a new job. These are exciting. These are life-changing. These are wonderful and positive experiences to share with others. So that doesn't a braggart or a narcissist make. A braggart really becomes, especially when it's in the form of a passive rage or a passive sort of bragging. In other words, having the having person who doesn't discuss anything else about how they've gotten it. They're not sharing with you. They're sort of bragging non-verbally. The fact that they own these things and don't talk to people, have gone through these experiences and not shared them with others. The fact that they have made certain accomplishments and don't discuss it. They're very tight-lipped, shut off. It's a covert narcissist maneuver for them to kind of have and then kind of keep an us and them dichotomy and divisiveness going. And so, the very fact that somebody wants to share something positive generally is because they want to have you look on the positive aspects of things in life, the finer things in life. But when a narcissist or a psychopath is bragging, it is just they're rubbing things in your face. They're flaunting and taunting their conquest. They're flaunting and taunting their psychological perspective, especially in the advent of the psychopath, the person who is not empathetic, especially to fear. They don't feel fear. They don't really feel sadness. They have an abnormal fear response. So it enables them to do things unto others, do things unto animals, do things unto objects, which normally people would respect societal norms. In other words, we don't destroy property, we don't, hurt others, we don't pathologically lie. I would be afraid of that. I am not comfortable pathologically lying, defrauding documents, things of that nature. That is what we call, compliant with societal norms. You're cooperating with, you're compliant with, you're observant of, you get it, you understand the reasoning why, why we stop at this stop sign, why we don't forge checks, why we don't, leave children abandoned in the house. These, are societal norms because we would be exposed to the negative, fear or sadness. Now, the psychopath does not feel these things. They, if you see them, they have an abnormal fear response. They are not afraid. For example, or sadness. Their dog dies. They're not feeling the sadness. I mean, you see people who grieve over their pet for months, for years. They get pictures painted of them. They love that pet. It's a family member to them. They've shared a lot of experiences. And especially, for example, now that we're talking about it, pets are very sensitive to your fear or your sadness. I mean, they will pick up on it. A dog will know when you're sad. He'll kind of come over, put his head in your lap, kind of like, what's wrong? Or if you're scared, they'll be kind of looking at you. They're more in tune, with you than these people. So, hence you've got pet therapy. So, there's this active sort of passive rage. And rage is, the toxic and very deep emotion of anger, which is, gone without anger is basically, when you feel a sense of violation or you can't speak up. Someone is not agreeing with you or conflicting with you, and you feel a sense of violation or disrespect, not being heard, not being respected. And so that is, oftentimes the source of the anger, and then that becomes a rage. And so a covert narcissist who, wants this all for themselves can't express sort of empathy and equality with and openness with. They have a very sort of buried sense of rage and anger within them, which causes them to really kind of siphon off others. They just are in a very sort of quiet rage, which means, not acknowledging you, just being very tight-lipped about their accomplishments and just taking it all. Not being open, not guiding with you, not sharing, not being open. It's concealment of their experience. And then furthermore, they'll solidify more of their concealment when they then go off into other tangents of their life and shut others out, oftentimes to their dismay, hurting them, through not being there. Not being there physically, not being there emotionally, not being responsible or accountable for certain things in this. So, there's this, then it duplicates an anger in another. So if you're around these people, and what I call basically they're bringing out the worst of you, you become an angry person, you become an unhappy person, you become, a disadvantaged person, a crippled person, and that you don't have that inner, fire, that light is not, flowing through you anymore. This is the result of that passive rage with which the covert narcissist and psychopath is so adept at. On the psychopathic level, it allows them to siphon one person or supplier target off, move on to another, have a double and triple life. You'd be, you're totally surprised when you find out that they've got other houses, other accounts, other relationships. God only knows they have different social security numbers, married to other people. I mean, it goes beyond what most people would physically and emotionally be comfortable with. And if you were asked about, what is white collar crime, like the Bernie Madoff, well, it is precisely that. It is not adherence to societal or financial laws. They're breaking laws. To them, it's just don't get caught. They have more money than they would ever really, need. So it becomes a part of a power to hoard money. And then, white collar crime, meaning, signing for other people, relaying, misrepresenting documents, misrepresenting, figures, blowing numbers up and deluding people. In other words, pathologically lying, telling them their statements, either stories of these, men and women in New York who had invested with him and they thought they had $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, and they find out their whole life savings is gone up a poof in smoke. It's gone. And of course we all know the outcome there, but in other words, there's ice water running in this person's veins where they do not feel bad. They're going to commit this again and again. They feel like, they can be above the law. They can take contacts. In other words, take white collar crime, meaning, in those businesses, in those corporations, in that corporate jungle, they're able to do things like go into files, go into software, hack into systems, get information, start transferring money, what's called money laundering, things of that nature. It's a white collar situation. And it doesn't just mean that people have to be wearing white collar shirts. We're talking about corporate psychopaths, people who are doctors, lawyers, CEOs who are psychopathic, meaning, they are looking at ways that, they can become in positions of power, start making decisions, making choices, business structures, things that go on to benefit them, the exploitation of others, where they're not, really attending to things that they should be sensitive to or empathetic to, especially, exploiting of others, and really where they're going to be they're going to be the bottom of the joke. They're going to be the bottom of the decision making. They're not going to get what they need, rightfully so. And they don't feel grievous if they've hurt the environment, if they've hurt others. I mean, this is, becomes very severe on a huge global level. So that is, what is going on. And a lot of people, need to learn about it. So furthermore, as you learn, you're in a better position to say, oh, I get it now. I see how this has happened. And to understand, that oftentimes it's the violent people who get caught, those people who are, convicted felons, but even so, they have connections and they connect with other felons who get themselves out as well. So, but anyway, to get back on course here, we're talking about this passive rage and the people then who you thought you could trust and want to be open with. So it keeps you working harder to be open with this person, and you find that they're closing off a whole aspect and area of their life that they're not sharing with. In other words, it's a very sort of passive rage, and then you try to confront them about it, and then you get this blow up. But see, it has nothing to do with you. It is everything to do with them and what they're concealing or hiding and things of that nature. And it does become a way for them to sort of be braggadocious about everything, and it's a very uncomfortable and unfulfilling situation to be in. So, if you have been the victim of this, realize it's nothing you've done wrong. Just begin now to acknowledge it, accept it. That's the first step. And then redirect your energies to yourself, firstly, saying, I have, vast amounts of empathy for myself now, and vast amounts of forgiveness for myself to help myself through this and make sense of it, and begin now to think more clearly, put one into, brain, decision-making processes. What do I need to do now? The I am me, and beginning to embrace that, and getting beyond that, and away from that passive rage, because eventually it'll just crumble you down where you're feeling very small, inferior, and this other person is just happy as a clam. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.